Welcome to Haken, an Animal Crossing podcast, your podcast dedicated to all things Animal Crossing. Episode 112 is brought to you by Evanlyn314, one of our newest Patreon patrons. Today, Sergio and I are talking about the new January artwork for the show, and we're answering the weekly questions for the 100-day countdown, as well as recapping the latest New Horizons news and discussing Animal Crossing spoilers. So to begin, hello Sergio, how are you doing?
Hi Chewy, I'm doing much better. I'm almost done fully recovering from an express cold that I got like 3 days ago. It's been an interesting couple of days, but I've also been playing a lot of games. A lot of our game. I finished my second playthrough of Pokemon Shield, and I'm pretty much done. I completed the Living Dex. I'm done with Pokemon until they announce a new one.
That is awesome. So you just stayed home from work and stuff during that time?
Yeah.
Well, that's good. It's good to rest up and get healthy. And luckily, yeah. You can spend some time playing some Pokemon as well. That's always good. Yeah, as far as me, I've been checking out the eShop every single day, several times a day, to see if they've added Animal Crossing New Horizons on there yet, because as soon as they do, I'm going to buy it. I haven't pre-ordered a physical copy at all yet because I don't know when I'm going to do that. I'm thinking, it's a big game, so I imagine we don't need to pre-order it. It's just going to be there.
Oh, yeah.
Right when we go. So I'm not worried about it being sold out or anything, but it is going to sell a lot of copies. I do know that for sure.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's what I've been up to. But for everybody else, we've also been up to getting some artwork ready, and this one comes courtesy of Mateo, one of our newest artists for the show, and they actually made a statement for this new piece that I want to go over. But really quickly, I wanted to just see how, because Sergio, I think the first time I shared this one, it was in the newsletter, the Haken newsletter,
right.
And it was mostly just the line art at that point,
Yes.
So now that you're officially seeing this new artwork, what do you think of it?
Oh, I like it a lot. It's perfect for, the coziness of January in the winter time. I especially like the camera angle because it's something that you can recreate in the games, how you can move the camera around.
Yeah.
But it also kind of reminds me of those isometric type of games, which is perfect because Animal Crossing is a game. So I really like that. And also the warm color palette. It just goes so well.
Yeah, I really love the mood of this one. I wanted... overall, I just wanted it to be unique. I feel like every piece that we get, I want it to be unique from the last and really just give off a different vibe, a different kind of thing with it,
Yeah.
And so this one, what I wanted to see out of it was just we never get to see just the animals in their homes unless you've played Happy Home Designer. Because in that case, you do get a little screenshot of them enjoying their place,
Yes.
But this, I really wanted it to be here's one villager, here's just them spending some time and having some fun in their little place and enjoying it while nobody's around. Because all the other times we see that, there's one unique, I guess, case in the very first Animal Crossing, Population Growing, where if a villager was in the same acre as their home, but not inside their home, you could go in and see it without them in there.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, so there's that, but all the other cases, you only really see the inside of their home when there's a villager in there, but you don't really see one when it's just the villager in there, outside of, like I said, Happy Home Designer. So yeah, I thought it'd be really nice to have a character here just enjoying their space. And yeah, I've loved it. The colors are really great.
Yeah.
So Mateo, like I said, made a statement, and they said, "This piece was a delight to work on. I wanted to capture the cozy feeling of staying inside and having a nice cup of tea by the fire during a rainstorm. I focused on coloring this piece with a warm palette and soft lighting to evoke the feeling of being safe and warm." And it definitely does that.
Yes.
One of my favorite little things is actually the steam kind of floating up from the mug that they're holding.
Yep.
Yeah, it's really cool to see that. And I'm always really amazed when people do super awesome stuff in art like that.
Yeah, and I agree. It definitely captures the feeling of what we expect the villagers to be doing in their homes, relaxing like we do in the games.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, that's literally what I do when I'm in my home in Animal Crossing. I just go sit on the couch and I turn the camera around through different angles and
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, this looks good. Yeah, it's funny the things that are just really entertaining in that game. They're so simple, but just so great and
Yeah.
relaxing, most of all. Um, yeah, I do really like the photos on top of the chimney as well. I can't really make out the character. I think it's Savannah, who's in that photo, just
Yes.
a little photo of herself. And then the left one, it looks I don't know. I'm not sure. It kind of like there's clouds. I kind
Right.
of like to imagine KK sliders there.
Oh.
but yeah, the other thing I really love about this is just like all of the plants and things and seeing the watering can and just seeing like how much greenery they've put around their house. And that's mostly because the very first game when I played, like I filled my place with plants. I wanted all the different plants and I put them all over my home. And
Mm.
so when my friend would walk in, he's like, there's so many plants in here. And I'm like, yeah, isn't it great? um, yeah, so it's just a fun way to decorate and everything. And I love the interpretation of all the different furniture in the game for sure, too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the lamps are especially adorable. Yeah. So anyways, if you want to see Mateo's work, they do some really great things. I found them from a piece that actually it wasn't Animal Crossing, but it was Animal Crossing inspired. And so they
Oh.
did kind of like a living space, and that was like the birth of this idea for the piece there. So that's how I found them. But
Mm.
they have a website. It's Marcinu .com. It's confusing how to spell it. They're all in
Oh.
the description though. They're Lord of on Twitter and then Lord_of on Instagram. And once again, all of these links are in the description for you to go and check them out and enjoy their work because it's pretty awesome. I really love what they did with this one.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So, Sergio, let's go ahead and move into what has become a staple of this show at this point. I think this is the 4th week we're doing this,
Yes.
but we are going to be answering the 100-day countdown questions. And they are pretty fun this week. They
Yeah.
got some cool ones. Just a lot of favorites, a lot of different things to think about. But I also want to point out, like, we've been doing this for 4 weeks, Sergio. It's crazy. We're already at this point, we're going over questions 79 through 73 from the days of the countdown, and that is already less than, I don't know, 20% of the way through our wait. That's crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's insane to me how quickly it's going. Today is Sunday, and we're recording 25% of the way through. Like, this is day 25 of our 100-day wait, and it's amazing that it's going this fast. I'm excited about that. Cool. So let's get into these questions. There should be a little shorter and faster this time around because, there are a lot of favorites. So the first one is for day 79, and the question is your favorite New Leaf Island tour. And Sergio, I'm interested to hear what you like.
Mine is the official gardening tour. It's the one where you collect flowers and you're told a specific color to get, but not the specific type of flower. So you can get any red or any yellow. That one is a lot of fun to me.
Yeah, that one is one of my favorites because it's like really hard to lose in that one. I think overall people do a good job, but I think where the tension comes is that when you do play with like more than one player, like 4 players and everything, you're trying to plant more flowers in that space than anybody else.
Yes.
And if you do, you're going to get rewarded with more medals at the end of the game. And so this one is like, I'd say one of the most balanced games because it doesn't take as much skill as some of the other tasks. Like, it's literally you run to a flower, pick it up, you run back, you drop it. And so,
Yes.
so I feel like as far as the balance goes, it's good. with this game. It's a fair fight whenever people play this one. And you can have your different strategy. Maybe you try to snoop all of the closest flowers before everybody comes out. Maybe somebody goes way to the end and gets a bunch of flowers on their way back, So yeah, it's a good game to play with people, I'd say.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
My favorite is a difficult one. It's the Elite Balloon Hunt. And this one, I like it because there are several different balloon hunts. The reason I picked the Elite one is because the whole map is scattered in pitfalls. And so every step that you take, you're really trying to look at two things at once. You're trying to look at the sky so you don't miss the balloons. But you're also trying to look at the ground so you don't fall into a pitfall, because you're stuck for like a good, 5 seconds, it feels like. And it sounds short on paper because it is, but in the sense of that game, you're like, oh my goodness, get me out of here. Yeah. I can't do anything and I need the score, and it's about to fly over the cliff or that river and I'll have to find a bridge and I don't know how. So I just love that the tension that builds up when you fall into a pitfall, because you're going to. Yeah. You cannot pay attention to both the ground and the sky and not just trip, Yeah, yep. Yeah, so that's why I like that one. I was going to pick another one, but this one I think is another that's just like, it's good, fun, and I love the ones where essentially you're against people in some way. Oh, yeah, gotcha. Yeah, so I do like being against people in some of the games. So, but sometimes the teamwork ones, and the one I was between was like the scavenger hunt one, because I do like that one for like being a team oriented game, but I felt more in a fighting mood today. All right, so day 78, the question was, what is your favorite insect? And Sergio, I'm going to surprise you. Actually, probably it's not surprising. I'm picking the tarantula. And this one was another one that I was torn with, because I thought I was going to choose one of the butterflies, either the Agrias or the Raja Brook butterfly. But then I was like, but the tarantula, it's just so scary. And there's like, it's a very unique thing when you get hit by a tarantula and you pass out and you wake up in front of your house and you're like, what just happened? Did my game break? Yeah, I just remember the first time that happened to me, and I'm like, what did I do wrong? I never game overed in an Animal Crossing game before. But that's essentially it. You game overed, Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you come back just a little ghost of yourself. So what's your favorite, Sergio?
Mine is actually the bees. Because, after playing the game for so long, I got pretty good at catching them. So I welcome the challenge. I'm actually always, every day I would look for them specifically and I would catch them. So yeah, I like them now. Yeah, and I'll tell you, the bees always take me to the beginning of my playthrough of any Animal Crossing game where, for those Animal Crossing pros out there, there's going to be some furniture hidden in the trees every day. And so you go around, you shake the trees, and, there's some bees that you're going to run into from there, here and there. And I remember I would run and I'd be like, oh, here's this villager's home. I can run in there and they won't catch me. And so for a long time, I'd start just by running away and trying to get away. And then I found out you could catch them and I was like, what? That's amazing. And so, yeah. After that, I started learning the ways to catch them, and I too got pretty good at it. Nice. Yeah, and they even made one of the updates in Welcome Amiibo around the bees, where you could now shake the trees with your bug net already open. Yes. So that's one way to make it easier to do that whole thing. Yep. Yeah, so the bees, that's a big part of the game. That's a good choice, Sergio. Yeah. Okay, so day 77, the question was, your favorite public works project. And Sergio, I'm really interested to hear yours. So mine is the log bench. Basically, it's a tree log, but you can sit on it. It just goes perfect with the aesthetic of Madeira. Everything is natural wood finish. It just went so perfect, and I put it next to my wood pattern flooring, next to the Roost Cafe. It was so perfect. I love that, and as soon as I can build it in New Horizons, I'm going to.
Yeah, and the log bench looks so good in New Horizons already too. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, their designs for a lot of the furniture are really great, and I think it's something we don't talk about much, but we needed, I think, for Animal Crossing. Um, their furniture sets, like the Lovely series, a bunch of them that have just been like around forever. The Blue
Yes.
series, the Green series, just all of these furniture sets, I think for me, they needed an update at this point. Like, we
Hmm.
can't just have the same furniture for 20 years. I mean, it's great if you can, because it means you don't have to replace furniture as often. But
Hmm.
overall, I think it's really cool to see a lot of the stuff get updated. And I feel like the log bench that you're talking about is one of those for sure.
Yes. Hmm.
Yeah. So my favorite public works project is the Zen Garden.
Mm.
And this is, the sand garden essentially, where people,
Yes.
if you see them in real life, there's usually somebody with a rake there making some sort of patterns, to the game.
Hmm.
Or not to the game, I guess the garden is what I wanted to
Yes.
say. So yeah, I've always loved these. I love seeing them. And it's funny because I'm not usually like a dry landscape kind of person.
Hmm.
Lately, I've opened up to it a lot more, and I'm really more into cacti and that sort of thing. But I really like the dry landscape of Zen gardens. Like, they always worked for me.
Mm. Gotcha.
And
Hmm.
so, but then also, like, I just love doodling, I guess, in dirt and real life things.
Yeah.
Like, if there's something that I can doodle in, I will doodle. And so, and the Zen Garden's one of those. So I love taking the rake and the sounds that it makes as you're doing. Like, it's all very pleasurable, and it's all, aimed at being very relaxing.
Yes.
And
Hmm.
so, yeah, I just love the look of the Zen Garden in Animal Crossing. And it's yeah, it's like it's got a lot of things going on that work, like the organization of it. Like, you're just doing a circle around this rock, and it just looks pleasurable.
Yeah.
Yeah. So day 76 was your favorite spin-off Animal Crossing game, and I'm excited to tell you all that I keep going back and forth on these. I think last time this came up, I was Team Pocket Camp. Because, it happens to be the Animal Crossing game I play most right now.
That's true.
But before that, I was Team Happy Home Designer, and I think I'm leaning back to Team Happy Home Designer right now. And it's mostly because people were talking about it in the Discord, and I was just like, really in the mood to play it lately. So I haven't, but I could definitely go in and do some designs right now.
Oh, nice, nice.
Yeah. So what's yours, Sergio?
Well, mine, with the small note that I didn't really play much Happy Home Designer, so it was pretty much an easy answer when you think about it that way. It's actually Pocket Camp, but
Oh.
it's more so. It's not only because the other option is Amiibo Festival. It's also because when we went into Pocket Camp, I kind of kept my expectations pretty low, just to be on the safe side. I thought it was going to be a lot less than what we got, so it really surprised me. I really enjoyed my time with it.
Yeah, yeah, and you played for a long time. You definitely, like, both of us were covering it from the early days for sure. Nowadays, we talk about it a lot less, and it's mostly because it does a lot of the same things these days, pretty repetitive. We'll only really talk about it if there's a major update now,
Right.
which, there could be one coming up. I mean, they always do one, I guess, once the new year rolls around, so that's pretty cool. But
Yeah,
with New Horizons coming out, I don't know how they're going to change up the game, but I imagine
that's
they'll do
true.
something. But at the same time, they almost don't have to, because the two seem like very different experiences that are for different kinds of games.
Yes. Hmm.
So, yeah. Cool. So let's go on to day 75. And the question was, what is your dream crossover? And I'm going to let you go first, Sergio, because I want to go off on mine for a little while.
Nice. Well, I'm thinking it would be a crossover that we would add to the next mainline game in the Animal Crossing series, and I would just add more of a Pokemon crossover like we had in Pocket Camp, but I definitely want a lot more, especially from the Galar region, the Pokemon from Sword and Shield. If that's the approach we take, that would be great. But I would also like to see Animal Crossing characters on a different franchise, and I was thinking, imagine a a mystery dungeon game with Animal Crossing characters in it. I think that would be pretty awesome.
Yes, I want an RPG type of Animal Crossing.
Yeah.
And doing like a mystery dungeon kind of thing is pretty cool. Like they definitely already did like the Desert Island Escape game, which is, you know, kind of a really different take on Animal Crossing thus far. So
Yes.
yeah. Yeah, I like those ideas. In Pokemon, I'm amazed at how little Pokemon there is in Animal Crossing. Considering like the people who play Animal Crossing, a good majority of them also play Pokemon. So it makes sense to cross them over. Let's get that.
Yeah.
And that'll come up a little bit later, but you know, we'll get there. So okay, mine, I want to go off on this for a little bit. That's why I went second. I want Animal Crossing to cross over with theme parks. And I know that's a weird thing to, I guess, cross over and think about it as a crossover, but that's what I want. So, we'll say specifically the Nintendo World theme park or whatever it's being called,
right.
You know? How cool. Why are they not making a Nook's Cranny gift shop? Like, that is the biggest missed opportunity of the decade already. And it's just started. Yeah. The decade just started and they're already messing up. Okay. Beyond that, like, there are so many cool things that you can do with the shops and stuff. Like, if you make just a whole big shopping center, I guess, you know, like everybody's got their, gift shops and everything. And all of the villagers are working the shops and stuff, like having a bunch of people in villager costumes and having the special characters in their costumes too, to greet people and take pictures and stuff. Adorable.
Yes.
It works so well. And then like there's just so much room for like cool carnival games and like mini games, I guess you could think of them, but in like a carnival style. And I don't know, maybe you can win things, trade them for bells, win other prizes. And I don't know, just I feel like there's a really good opportunity to make Animal Crossing a really nice theme park. And I don't understand why it doesn't exist yet, because it needs to.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So, as far as rides though, I don't know, you could make a train ride, of course, a taxi ride, a bus ride, Dodo Airlines ride, like pretty much every mode of transportation in the game, turn it into a ride. It'd be fun. I'd ride all of them. I'm just saying, there's plenty of things you could do with Animal Crossing to make it the perfect theme park, and also make a little cute forest that we can go into and have fun.
Oh, yes.
Even a swim park would work at this point, too. Like an island getaway, you know? So
that's true.
Yeah, there's so many good themes. And every season, you can change the colors of everything and make it look like the season that you're in, you know? Especially like, you know, both of us are from Southern California where, you know, you don't often get a lot of the different seasons there, but like to have a theme park that does change seasons while you're there.
Oh.
Hello, make it now. Make it, I mean, I guess that would be like kind of specific to it being in Southern California, but you know, it could be somewhere else where there aren't seasons and it'd be just as appreciated.
Yeah. These are all great ideas. They better be in the works.
Yeah, so Nintendo, crossover your theme park with Animal Crossing, and we're good. And there's nothing more I could ask about that.
Nice.
All right, so day 74, the question was, your favorite Animal Crossing holiday? And I thought I was going to say something different. I thought I was going to say Thanksgiving, and then I was like, No, it's Halloween. It's got to be
Oh,
Halloween.
nice.
And it's mostly just because, like, it's one of those where you do it throughout the month. You're collecting candy and stuff. You're getting all of your costumes and things. It feels like what a holiday feels like, the preparation behind it, And so
Mhm.
I feel like that's what captures a lot of the holiday season, where it's
Yes.
about getting ready, about having your place set up, about enjoying it. And then it happens and you have a good time. So. Halloween. That's mine.
Nice. I definitely like the ones that are month centric. It's not just the one day. It's like you said, it's part of the season of that
Hmm.
specific holiday. But for me, I pick one that is just one day, and I picked it because it's a holiday only in Animal Crossing, pretty much. And I'm going with Festivale, because you have Pave there, and you have your going around collecting the colored feathers and then talking to the villagers. So I like that one, like I said, because it's mostly only in Animal Crossing, and it's like a holiday that just comes out of nowhere. February or March. There's not a lot going around those times, at least here in America. So I like that one.
Yeah, that's a really good choice too, and I think it's fun to see like the holidays that are unique to Animal Crossing,
Yes.
and that's definitely one of them. And I think it's a good choice.
Nice.
So, day 73, the final day that we'll be going over, and the day that we're at today. 73 days away from Animal Crossing, everybody
Nice.
listening to this show on Tuesday when it releases. Um, the question is, favorite ocean fish? So, Sergio, what's your favorite ocean fish?
I'm going with tuna. I like the fact that it's pretty big, and I do like tuna. I don't like a lot of fish. I think tuna is the only exception, so for sure I had to go with that.
That's a good one. For me, I said the Napoleon fish, and it's mostly because every time I've caught one, I'm always like, whoa.
Yes.
It just blows my mind every single time. So, Napoleon fish for me.
Nice, and it has a very very nice color scheme.
Yeah, the bright blue is definitely really
Yes.
fun. Cool. So let's go ahead and move on to our next topic, and that is the Animal Crossing New Horizons news recap. I guess if you missed it, somehow we finally have started to get things from Nintendo regarding Animal Crossing. And this first thing comes in the form of, I guess, 1/2-ish things, but essentially we got the first advertisement. It came out in Japan on January 1st, 2020. We got an English version of that same ad in the very next day, so January
Yes.
2nd. So we didn't wait too long for it to get translated. And then included with it was a box art reveal. And we even had some tweets from Isabel. So I guess I'll break it down a little bit more in depth, but the advertisement covers, I guess, it just covers Tom Nook showing off the deserted island getaway package,
Hmm. Hmm.
So we see a bunch of villagers in kind of a hall, and they're being presented to it. It kind of gave me some like timeshare vibes, which, if anybody has looked into timeshares, don't, because they are crazy. Okay. But anyways, so it's like Tom Nook, he's holding this presentation, he's showing off the deserted island getaway package. We're seeing all of these animals react to it and everything. One thing I found was a bummer that the animals seemed to be the older models that Animal Crossing did,
Hmm.
And so it seemed like they were updated, like Amiibo Festival models, kind of, because the
Right.
animals are all still wearing their tank tops. Isabel is still in her winter outfit. But at the same time, I felt like it worked for this situation because nobody has moved to the deserted island yet. Like they haven't updated their
Ah.
look. They haven't really, they're not moved into that new spot.
Yes.
So
Yes. Hmm.
it feels to me like it makes sense to have them in their old outfits and kind of their old look. So, but still, I wanted to see them a little bit more
Yeah. Right.
updated. They do look really good
Yeah.
regardless. Um, outside of that, they had some words attached to everything and said, a naturally abundant deserted island, build a new life from scratch, and an island full of possibilities. So, yeah, just a bunch of stuff, just saying essentially that we're starting from scratch and we've got a lot of resources there and a lot of possibilities there too. So it seemed like all of the characters were really into that idea, especially Isabel at the end. She'd fallen in love because, I feel like it's also referencing like Isabel just never got to make it out to the beach in New Leaf.
Yeah.
And now her whole life is the beach, essentially.
That's so true.
So I felt happy to see her like that. And then at the very end, we got the reveal of the box art. And Sergio, what did you think about all this stuff? All of this new ad and the box art that we saw?
Everything is looking really nice. Like you said, I like the way they presented everything, the camera angles they used. As a KK fan through and through, the first thing I noticed on the box art is that KK is not there. It's not a deal breaker, but it's a little disappointing. He had been in there in every game since Wild World, so I don't know what happened.
Yeah, that is a bummer. That's for sure. How many box arts has he been on?
He was in Wild World, City Folk, New Leaf. I think that's it. I don't think he's in Happy Home Designer.
Okay, so pretty much...
And he is in Amiibo Festival, yes.
Okay, so pretty much almost all of them.
Yeah.
So it's very rare that he's not on a box art. So it's a bummer to see, for sure. Because he deserves a good spot in the Animal Crossing world. So
yeah,
just put him on the box art next time, people. So let me kind of talk about the box art a little bit. So on the box art itself, we see a couple playable characters, and then we see Tom Nook and the boys, and then Isabel is there as well. And then we have Fuchsia and Rod. So Fuchsia is the deer who, she's been kind of the star in this game so far. Like, she seems to be the big villager that's being advertised,
Yes.
And then Rod is a very interesting character. He's a little mouse that's dressed up kind of like pirate themed, or a sailor, I guess. But I like to think of him more as a pirate. So yeah, pretty cool debut for him there. I don't think he's been on a box art before, and I don't think Fuchsia was either. But like I said, Fuchsia seems to be like the front and center animal in this whole New Horizons game. Right. And then from there, the most interesting thing is the two new characters.
Yes.
We got a dodo and a beaver. And the beaver, a lot of people are comparing, of course, to Chip, who runs the fishing tournament. And lo and behold, this beaver is also fishing. So we don't quite know who the beaver is, if it's a redesign of Chip or if it's one of Chip's nephews, sons, daughters. I don't know. So, I guess, what do you think of these new characters?
It's very exciting. And at some point, I thought when we saw the new Beaver character, I really hope this is a normal villager and not a special character, because that would mean we are finally getting regular villagers in the species from special characters, like beaver, raccoon, etc. I really hope that's the case.
Yeah, and I mean, I think it's still a possibility. I think the one strange thing is the character does have pants, and I think a lot of people are pointing out that only the special characters have been shown to wear pants and stuff.
That's true, yeah.
But I'm like, come on, why are we not at the point where villagers can wear pants too?
That's true.
They got sleeves. They finally got sleeves.
Yeah.
It would seem, a good thing to give them pants as well. So I don't know. I'm still kind of hoping that it's just a villager as well, but it makes sense that the special characters have pants, so it might just be a special character.
Yeah. And the new Dodo character looks very nice. I want to know their name.
Yeah, I'm really wondering. I wanted to make a guess. Maybe we'll make a guess next week, unless they somehow manage to reveal something before then about the Dodo, But actually, no. Let's make a guess now. Why prolong it? I guess, what would I name a dodo? I don't know quite yet. What are you thinking, Sergio?
I'm thinking Rododo.
That's a good one, Rododo. I'm gonna go with, I don't know. Dodo, it's a bird. I'm gonna call him Benny. Because of Benny and the Jets. And he
nice.
rides a plane. So I don't know. I'm going with Benny. Yeah. So that's our guess, Rododo and Benny.
Nice.
We're both going to be wrong. Except, no, Sergio, you're going to be right. Somehow you're right about all these things. Cool. So from there, I guess outside of that, we also got a few tweets from Isabel. One of them was just a picture with Tom Nook and the boys, and it said, Nook is looking forward to supporting us in 2020, just talking about the New Horizons release date coming up very soon. And then they also tweeted out this advertisement. It was the English version, of course. And then the full New Horizons artwork, which is the cover art, but the rest of it. So This cover art shows Apollo, Bunny, and Filbert, a good friend of Sergio's. And the one real big surprise here that nobody really expected to see on this cover was Harvey in the top right corner. He is outside of his cabin and everything. So let's actually speculate on that a little bit, Sergio. So what are you thinking for Harvey this time around?
Oh, for Harvey, that's interesting. I'm just expecting that whenever there's a new special character like Harvey, maybe instead of setting shop in your island, they're gonna set shop in a nearby island, sort of like Harvey looks to be doing, and that's how we're gonna be traveling from mini island to mini island, basically around your island, and in a way that might take care of the island expansion that some of us have been wanting. So that's what I'm thinking. As for Harvey himself, I don't know the feature.
Yeah, I mean, I guess from New Leaf, he was introduced as an amiibo kind of functionality, you know? So every amiibo that you put in, well, at least not every, the figures and the welcome amiibo cards, those would show up as RVs in Harvey's kind of campsite, you know? So I guess from there, like, you know, an easy guess would be kind of maybe he's where the amiibo stuff happens again, but also like maybe, you know, I kind of like the direction you're going with the villagers kind of showing up there before they show up on your island.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. It could be interesting to see, but I'm pretty excited about him making a return. Especially, fun fact, Harvey is one of 3 characters in New Leaf, like the game New Leaf, that does not have an amiibo, funny enough. Because, you know, he's where the amiibo go. So yeah, him, Lloyd the Gyroid does not have an amiibo, and Wisp, even though Wisp sort of has an amiibo because he appears as the Smash Villager amiibo, but that's not a Wisp amiibo, you know?
Right.
Yeah, so none of these have cards nor figures. So yeah. Okay. Outside of that, I think that was all the news, right?
Yes.
So how are you feeling? First of the year, and they already gave us something?
I know, it's very exciting, and it's just, you know, it's a good thing that the wait is going by quickly, but with this news and everything looking so good, you know, it's still making things pretty rough, but we'll get there.
Yeah, I'm really glad that they decided to just be like, all right, we'll give you something. It's the first day of 2020, might as well. Because we've been waiting forever to start this like news cycle, because, you know, they got to go all out with the game. They got to show it off. They got to send people some cool things about it, you know? Yeah. So, all right. Now, this next topic is one that I've been really excited to talk about for, I don't even know why, but I just want to. But it is called, Can You Spoil Animal Crossing? And Animal Crossing is a very unique game because it's not really story-driven. It's very life sim-ish. You don't really have too much to follow in it, you know? So I've been wondering like how people felt about spoilers and what they considered a spoiler and everything. And I guess before we talk about like kind of New Horizons, I did want to talk about New Leaf, because that was our last experience waiting for an Animal Crossing game like this, you know?
Yes.
I mean, we have waited for like spin-offs and stuff in between, but I didn't feel like that wait was quite the same as waiting for New Leaf, where the news was very scarce. It was a big new game that we really wanted to play, and it's a mainline game, so it's obviously going to have a lot more draw, a lot more attention. So yeah, I guess, how did you feel about the wait for New Leaf? Did you avoid news, or were you desperate for it?
I was keeping up with all the news until the game came out in Japan. And once the full game was out, I bowed out and I said I'll wait for the full release here in North America. So the reason why is because before the game was out in Japan, it was fair game from everybody. Everyone was on the same level basically, and all the news were for everyone. I feel like it's different now with New Horizons because it's not gonna come out sooner in any region than everywhere. It's gonna come out everywhere at the same time. So I think it's for me. I'm keeping up with everything. I don't think there's anything too particular that I'm avoiding. I am avoiding something. I'll mention that later. But yeah, New Leaf was very unique because it took forever to come out everywhere else.
Yeah, and you make a good point in two ways. One is, of course, like how long the game was out in Japan before everybody else. Because, at that point, there was like months and months of stuff accessible that you could see for the game. And I was definitely not one of those to avoid it. I was like, yeah, show me. I'm down. I don't think, and I guess part of that came from my feeling that like, I don't feel like it could be spoiled for me. Like, I just kind of want to see something, and Nintendo's not showing. So let's see something,
Right.
But the other good point you're also making is that New Horizons is going to be the very first Animal Crossing game that we all get at the same time. Even like the spin-offs that we've gotten recently, they never came out at the same time everywhere. They came out first in like Pocket Camp came out in Australia a month before. And even the release of Happy Home Designer was weird. I have to double check Amiibo Festival. Maybe that was the first one to come out everywhere at the same time. But what makes the Switch unique is that it's not region locked at all. So there's nothing stopping you from going to the Japanese eShop, uploading some Japanese eShop money,
Yes.
and then just downloading any game on there. So that forces Nintendo to put every single major release out on the same day everywhere. And to some extent, that does kind of slow down the release dates and make them have to work more to get games out on time,
Yes.
But yeah, it's just like, it's a very unique situation where I imagine we've been waiting this long literally because there's a lot of dialogue in Animal Crossing. There's a lot to localize and change. And we've already heard that the game's being localized in like Latin American Spanish for the first time. So not only are they dealing with new languages, but they're just trying to have all of these things translated before March 20th, 2020. So it's a lot of work that goes into that,
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess for me, I was desperate for New Leaf news, so I didn't avoid any of the gameplay. And I guess my follow-up question there is, do you feel like the wait for New Horizons has been just different than New Leaf?
Yes, very different because all the news that we get are for everyone at the same time. So I don't feel like I'm avoiding anything specific. It's safe because the game is not going to come out sooner in a certain region, and then we might get something really big spoiled. Everyone is getting the same info at the same time.
Yeah. It feels like all the news is for us, and even just seeing similarities between the ads already, like the January 1st, both the ads that we got were identical, essentially.
Yes.
Japan got their ad. It was in Japanese. We got our ad and it was in English, So yeah, it's feeling like the marketing is aligned here, and it's really meant to come out in all of the regions at the same time.
Yeah.
Cool. So let's talk about spoilers for New Horizons now. And the first one's kind of more general Animal Crossing, but the first question is, do you think Animal Crossing can get spoiled? Why or why not, Sergio?
I don't think so. Not for the most part. I think if anything, some of the most experienced Animal Crossing players, some of us may want to avoid something on purpose. More on that later. I do have something that I am avoiding, but I think we're doing that on purpose. Like I said, it's not because it's a
Mm-hmm.
spoiler per se.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And you're right. Like, we come at it from an angle of like, we've played every game. So it's not like a huge deal for some things to be spoiled for us because we kind of know a lot of what to expect already.
Yes. Hmm.
Yeah. So for me, I say I don't think that Animal Crossing can get spoiled. And I think there are just for sure things out there that I think people would consider spoilers. But overall, for me, the experience is something that can't be spoiled. Like, no matter
Yes.
how much you see, how much you play, or, you know, like you're going to play your own way and you make your experience very unique to other people. So, yeah, I just don't think it's something that's going to get spoiled because it's really just dependent on how you play the game overall.
Yes. It's going to be very different for everyone.
Yeah. So my next question is, what would you consider a spoiler in Animal Crossing if you considered anything a spoiler?
Yeah, let's say they show us a new location, like a new shop or something that is managed by a new special character. I feel like it would be nice if they show us a couple of details of the new location or the new special character. But if they show a little too much, I think that kind of takes away from the magic, the newness of the addition to the series, and also the music. To me, the music is the big thing to spoil, so that's what I'm avoiding. Yeah, I think the music can be spoiled.
Yeah, yeah. And that makes sense too. Like, you can flood people with too much information. I think for a long time, Pokemon really struggled with that, where they just gave us way too much all the time. And yeah, the music is a cool one because that's going to be very special too, to
Yeah.
really just play your first few hours or your first 24 hours. Because it's going to be an all day thing and just hear all of the music as it goes.
Yes.
So it's exciting. I'm really excited about that. For me, I guess what I'd consider spoilers is kind of like the few story aspects that we get, like the conversations with Sable. I think it's fun to read those and experience them the first time as you play, and then I think it's fun to see what people think about it online later. But like
Yeah.
getting that kind of depth and more character driven narrative from the game is very rare. So I think that could be a bit of a spoiler. And then the other thing is, I don't really want to see how the holidays work until I play them.
Oh, that makes sense. Yes.
Yeah, so like I don't really want to be spoiled on holidays. I just want to play them and see how it goes the first time around.
Yeah.
So my next question is, what wouldn't you consider a spoiler in Animal Crossing? Like, is there anything that you feel like is just something you can talk about?
Honestly, I think most things are not a spoiler. And the reason for that is because, let's say you see a feature or an item or a villager, anything that you see in somebody's town or playthrough. If you run into that into your own game, and that's only if, because there's so much content in this game that it's not a guarantee that you're going to see everything, or at least not in a couple of years, then even if you do see it eventually, it's going to be in a very different scenario. Your town is going to be different. The time, the season, the villagers in your town are going to be different. So it's very hard to spoil anything. I think, like you said, it's all about the experience. So you cannot really spoil that.
Yeah, it's all about like what you do with what you get.
Yes. Mhm.
Yeah. For me, I guess I don't think sharing advice is too much of a spoiler.
Mm.
And I guess the thing with that makes, and this is kind of a bigger topic than Animal Crossing maybe, but I think like what makes humans themselves unique to other creatures on the planet is that we can record information and pass it down, essentially.
Yes.
Like, we have writing and words, and I guess in this case, typing and the internet. And so I think like you're able to easily share advice with players on like how to get certain items and of course, the one constraint there is like some people just don't want advice on stuff and they just want to do it on their own.
Yeah.
Like, respect that, and that's fine, you know? I might be one of those in a lot of cases. Like, I just want to do something. I don't need to be told how to do it. But, you know, outside of that, like, if somebody asks, like, you're totally free to just say something.
Yeah.
And I guess in some sense that polices itself from being a spoiler, but yeah, because, you know, so many people go before they start playing Animal Crossing, they go and look at the face guide. Like, how do I answer these questions to get this face, you know?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So I think there's a lot of like advice that I don't think is really spoiler driven. It's just like, you know, it's kind of improving the aesthetics of what you have.
Yes, exactly. Very well said.
Yeah. Okay, my next question is there any information you want to avoid about New Horizons?
Honestly, just the music. I mean, whatever we get in the trailers is fine, but I don't want to really listen to it until I hear it in game. It's just gonna make it a lot more special. So yeah, for me, just the music.
Yeah, that's a good one to avoid for sure. Mine is essentially the holidays. I just don't really want to see what the holidays are until I see them.
Nice.
All right, I had one more question for you on this topic, and it is there any information that you absolutely need to know about Animal Crossing New Horizons?
Yeah, there is one thing, and it's been bothering me from pretty much the very beginning when we saw the map and the size of the island. I really need to know if we're gonna be able to expand it, or how our new shops or new venues going to be added. I just want more details on that. If we can get more information on a lot of other things, I'm all for it, right? But if I can only get one thing, it's that. How does the island expand, or how do the shops get added to it?
Yeah, that'd be a good one to cover, I think, before it's out.
Yes.
So mine, I just absolutely need to know pretty much everything else. I mostly want to know, but I guess the one thing I really want to know is just like, if there's any other new greenery that we can plant around the island, you know, like, will there be new trees? Because they just added some to Pocket Camp, and I'm like, yes, I want those trees. They're super cute. But you know me, like, I love seeing the different types of greenery and stuff that we can grow. So,
Yes.
like, the other day I was just like, we haven't really seen bushes outside of the two that are planted around the houses in the villager homes, you know? Like, those are the only bushes that we've really seen. And I'm like, I'd really like to see more bushes, more just things that we can grow. We have seen the new weeds and some new flowers, but yeah, I'd like to see more of that.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. All right, so let's go ahead and move into Haken's Islander Corner. And for those of you who don't know, every week on the podcast, we ask our patrons on Patreon a question and read some of their answers here aloud for you. So this week's question was, what is your dream crossover with Animal Crossing? And Sergio and I have already talked about that. I've been keeping in line with asking them one of these questions from the 100-day countdown. So, Sergio, let's go ahead and go back and forth on these. Do you want to start out?
Sure thing. And the first answer is by Nikki Coburn. And they say, I would also like a Pokemon crossover. It would be really cute, and they have already done some Pokemon stuff in Pocket Camp. Pokemon Villagers would be great. Yes, yes, I completely agree.
Yeah. And, you know, like you brought up Pokemon being a crossover already. I mentioned that we would touch this topic again. And I'll say this was not the only comment about Pokemon in being a crossover with Animal Crossing. A lot of people said this. So there are a lot of people who are really looking for some Pokemon stuff in Animal Crossing.
Nice. It makes perfect sense.
Yeah. So Miss Alice said, would love an Animal Crossing and Studio Ghibli crossover, mostly for furniture. There could be Totoro stuffed animals and Kodama statues. I feel like so many movies, there's a lot to work with, and making a Ghibli-inspired town would be relaxing.
Yeah.
And a lot of people really liked this comment too, because once again, Animal Crossing fans tend to be Studio Ghibli fans too.
That's true.
Just as like they're Pokemon fans. So yeah, this is a crossover that makes sense for sure.
Yes, definitely. That sounds really nice too. So Rain says, my dream crossover is with Final Fantasy XIV, another game where you also gather fish, decorate houses, and harvest. Since it's an MMO, I would love to see the armor from the game as cosmetic items, iconic furniture sets, and maybe even Moogle or Chocobo villagers. Yes, the chances of it happening are impossible, but I can dream.
And okay, so this isn't something we talk about a lot. Sergio, I know you're a huge Final Fantasy fan. I don't know if you know that I'm a huge Final Fantasy fan. I've played a lot of them that have been on Nintendo consoles,
Yes.
mostly because I usually had Nintendo consoles, you know?
Right.
So I saw this one, I was like, I have to grab it. We love Final Fantasy.
Nice.
Cool. So this next answer is from Kiki Vulcan, and they said, if you're talking dreams, then fantasy life. It would be so cool to go around gathering fantasy life collectibles and crafting them using fantasy life themed mini games. Oh. And this one's really cool because I'm a big fan of fantasy life. And essentially when you pick a path like cooking or being a tailor, those were the two that I mostly did. Nice. There are little mini games that you play as you cook and make clothes and stuff. So I think that would be a lot of fun for sure. It definitely adds a lot more to the crafting mechanic, but thus far it doesn't seem like it's going to be like a very minigame themed thing. It's going to be focused kind of around collecting the right materials to make things, you know?
Yes.
Yeah, but it would be cute and I would love it.
Yeah. Nice. So Bunny says, I have always dreamt of an Animal Crossing Tamagotchi. It would be so cute. Imagine having Isabel with you to keep you company all day. Plus, the Tamagotchi characters would fit well in an Animal Crossing game. They are so cute and colorful. Tamagotchi has had a few Nintendo collaborations in the past, but Animal Crossing is the one I need right now. They definitely fit well together.
Yes. Yes, I want this for sure. It's just like, you know, it's a little pet in your pocket. Yeah. And it's fun. Yeah, I would like that. So Honey Ocean said, Rilakuma. I love this cute teddy bear. I love its cute teddy bear aesthetic, and it would fit perfectly. The stop motion show they made on Netflix is super cozy and relaxing, which overlaps with Animal Crossing too. I love collecting Rilakumas in real life. Let me collect them in Animal Crossing.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that's really cool. I looked it up and saw a little picture, and it's cute.
Nice. Quantrell Tobal says, Star Fox. The characters are already talking animals, and there are already model types for each member of the team. That is a really cool idea. They could even have the fake voices that they used to have. That would be great.
Yeah, that's one that's really fitting, especially like if you make villagers of the characters. It's one that works.
Yeah.
Cool. So the next answer is the last one, and it's from Lake Mount, and they said, it would be fun to see a Legend of Zelda / Animal Crossing crossover. Something like Four Swords Adventures, but with your favorite villagers following you around and helping you solve puzzles.
Oh.
I love this, because this is like going more in the Zelda direction, you know? Like yes. A lot of these crossovers were very in the Animal Crossing direction. Right. So this one is really cool to think of like Zelda being a game has Animal Crossing characters.
Yeah.
In it. Yeah, and that would be really fun. There's one game, I don't know if it is out yet on anywhere, and I forget the name of it, but it's got this really cute like fox character, and it's essentially like they look like Link, you know, and they're kind of adventuring. Do you remember what this game is called?
I forget the name, but I don't think it's out.
Yeah. Yeah. And the other unfortunate thing is I don't think it's coming to Switch yet.
Right.
Yeah. I think I just followed them on Twitter. So let me see if I can see what they were called really quickly. Tunic.
That's it. Yes.
Yes. So look up Tunic. It's this really cute little fox dressed up like Link. And it looks like it's coming to Steam and Xbox and probably some other places. It's probably only a matter of time before it comes to Switch, because if you see this game, you're like, why is this not coming to Switch? Oh my goodness. I'm just looking at this little video of the fox making a snow angel. It's adorable. But yeah, that'll be your Animal Crossing Zelda crossover for sure.
Oh yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you all so much for watching and tuning in to this episode of Haken, an Animal Crossing podcast. Don't want the episode to end? Well, you can keep the conversation going by Nintendo switching over to our Discord. Just follow the link in the description, and you can talk with other people who love Animal Crossing as much as you do, including Sergio and me. Want to support the show in a bigger way and get your voice heard during the show? Visit patreon.com/ChewyPlaysNintendo. You can support our show with just $1, have an episode dedicated to you, and get special access to a secret room on Discord, as well as join in on the Haken Islander Corner. And I even put out a monthly newsletter covering all things Haken and Chewy Plays. We really appreciate the support and put your money towards some great things on the show. Tuned in on YouTube, the comments are a great place to let us know your answers to the Haken Islander Corner. What is your dream crossover with Animal Crossing? If you dig what you hear, please KK slide over that review section on your platform of choice. Let people know what they're missing out on. Haken is a wild production brought to you by Chewy, Sergio, and all of our patrons. We thank you for listening, and we hope you have a great week.
Goodbye, everybody.